Let's rock and roll.
Well, good morning, everyone. I like to say good morning. It's not even morning here or there.
Somebody,
But I still
somewhere
say
it is.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to Twins Talk Tech, episode probably 42, right?
I think so.
If it's not, then it's in the early 40s. That much we know. I'm Bryce.
I'm Brent.
This guy over here is Brent. And we've kind of been talking, dare I say it's a series, right? About Apple's new products, which neither of us have in our grubby mitts, the 10S and the 10S Max. And in just another, week or two, the 10R is scheduled to come out. So that'll be another interesting thing in the mix. You've already mentioned how you want the 10R. Well, don't you want to say you want? Out of all of them, that's the one that you'd probably lean to.
Right, if I were to get one, right.
Yeah, ignoring the price, I'd probably lean to the 10S Max because I've already got a Plus. I'm used to the size in the hand, and just having that extra screen real estate would be great. When my wife sees it, she says, well, what's the point of an iPad mini? And I agree and disagree. What are your thoughts on the iPad mini series as a whole? Do you think they should stay? Because you got the iPad. You got the iPad Max,
Right.
the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. So you got the big boy.
I do.
She has, and this is for my children, the minis, and I have kind of that middle ground 9.7 situation. So what do you think? I mean, is it something that you think is even worthwhile keeping?
I do, mainly because I hear a lot of people talking about how much they like it and asking when is the next one coming out. The main reason between the iPad mini and the Max, the iPhone S Max, 10S Max, is the operating system. I know they're both iOS 12 if they were to release a new mini, but you're not getting an iPad experience on the iPhone. For instance, side-by-side multitasking. Picture-in-picture you do not have on the iPhone.
Right. Which is a shame, by the way.
Right. So even though you have that bigger screen, you're getting the same experience on that 6.5-inch screen as you are on the 5.8-inch screen, which for old people like me with old man eyes, I like the bigger text and the bigger everything, especially if I were to go to one coming from my iPhone 7, which is, I looked over here, even though I already know it's over there. 4.7-inch screen, I believe it is. And I came to this phone, well, that's not entirely true. I had this 7 Plus before this. My wife and I swapped because I wanted the smaller physical dimensions. But I had the SE.
Little baby hands.
Yeah, I had the SE. What about now? I had the SE before this phone. And it just, I carry glasses with me, just readers. I hang them on my shirt. But without the glasses, I just couldn't read.
Baby hands and old man eyes.
Yeah,
Wow, that's rough.
I'm an amazing 6-foot+ individual.
And only, what, size 4? 10
Four and a half, man.
Anyways.
Sick of these.
I'm sorry. I can't
insults.
Half's important.
So that's kind of basically where it is. So you have, even though they do have the bigger phone, that is, an inch is really, on that size, makes a big difference. However, it's only a little
Almost
over
an inch and a half, I guess, right?
No, well, I
7.9?
I suppose
Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, you're right. But still.
7.9 and 6.5. So you're 0.01 away, right? From an inch.
Right. 0.1, I think.
0.1. Yeah. Math. It's always difficult for us. Yeah. I think my thing is, Ruth, my wife, likes the iPad. She likes the iPad mini because it is small enough to fit in her purse if she wants to bring it with her. And it's small enough to where it fits in her hands as well. She has baby hands as well. Her phones, though, because of her baby hands, she, like you, prefers the tiny ones. And, it works better for her. Although she also has old man eyes.
Don't tell her you
Old
said
woman eyes. So she needs to increase the font on her phone. She now has the 8. She was upgraded last week, 2 weeks ago. And the 8 is what she has. She likes it. It's obviously faster. She had the 7S or 7 before that. It is faster. She can notice that. But font size, it's a bit tiny. So she does increase that under the accessibility situation. But she has mentioned my phone again. So I have the 8 Plus, the size of the Max physically. She doesn't like it when you're holding it in the hand and texting or using it as a phone. So it's Apple. If the reason they're not upgrading the Mini recently is because they think these larger phones is the replacement, there's a huge amount of people out there. I'm not saying that my wife is a huge amount of people, but a lot of people that are in the same circumstance as she is. They think the same way, and they have virtually the same reasons. I don't want a giant phone to hold up to my head if I'm talking to someone. I don't want to text on a giant phone. But if I'm using the iPad for iPad reasons, reading a lot, studying certain things, even watching media, she doesn't do a lot of that on the device. But if she did, having a bigger screen definitely helps in those regards. And she doesn't want to lug around. She says she can feel the difference, weight-wise, between her phone and my phone. Wow. Maybe it's a mom superpower that they have because they've got all these extra stuff. So I don't know how she feels the difference. I mean, there is a difference, but I don't. I mean, come on.
Does she carry it?
Half
Does
a
she
pound,
carry it
half
in her pocket, or
quarters.
does she carry it in her purse?
No, she almost solely carries it in her purse. If she doesn't have a purse with her, which is rare, it's in her hand. At work, I don't know because I'm not with her. She does have a tendency to leave her phone in a drawer at her desk a lot. So getting a hold of her is always fun. Hopefully there's never any emergencies, but so yeah, there's always that as well. I mean, again, so this big phone that, by the way, I love this case. I don't remember who makes it. It's one of those super thin cases. There's no logo on the back. It's just smooth. Good texture, though, so it doesn't slip out of the hands. Love it. Anywho, putting the Plus in the back pocket. I wear mine in my front pocket. I put mine in my front pocket. But your average female, and some guys too, of the more sensitive nature, as I like to say. That's not true at all. Put it in their back pocket, which scares me to death. I mean, every time I see it, I work for a school district, and so that's all you see are phones sitting like this, just hanging out of pockets. It's like, oh boy, that's why their screens are broken 99% of the time. And if they're adult, it's because they give the phones to their kids and their kids break it. But anyways, I mean, Apple has always in the past wanted to have a very narrow set of SKUs, very limited amount of products. And now that they're keeping the 7 and the 7 Plus, the 8 and the 8 Plus alive with the 10S, the 10 Max, S Max, and the R, they're going to have quite a few just in phones alone. They've got the iPad Pro. I believe the 12.9 inch is still kicking around. Am I correct?
Yep.
Then you have the 10.5, I think it is. 9.7 no longer exists. But now that the standard iPad 9.7 supports pencil input, I always want to say pen. That's why I always say pencil. So now they have just that does the pencil, right? You have 3 iPads. And they still sell, what is it, the iPad Mini 4, I think is the one that they still sell. Hasn't been upgraded, but they still sell it. So iPads alone, they've got 4 different SKUs. Are they expanding the phone SKU so that they can narrow the iPad SKU? I mean, I don't know. I actually have the size 9.7. I want the 12.9. You know, I would even take a 12.9 if it didn't have pencil support. That's how crazy I am. I would prefer the pencil support, but I don't know how much I would use it. I like the idea of it, and maybe just simply the idea of having it is great, but how much I would use, I don't know. But I do like the bigger size. iPad 9.7 inch, which I'm using right now as the monitor for my camera, if you, what is it? You tilt it so that it's in portrait mode and you set two screens side by side. That's a 12.9 inch. Isn't that roughly how big it is?
Approximately.
Which
yes.
is, I mean, so the idea of having that, and that's, you've mentioned having two separate screens that are still kind of full size.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. The iPad Mini is nice, but it's not my ball game. It's not what I want. But again, that's what my kids want. That's what my wife wants. I have so many friends that, to them, because they want to buy something new, right? They don't want the Mini 4 that's been out for 4 years now. They want something new, so they feel like they're forced into the iPad. They're forced into the iPad 9.7 inch. Again, that's not even what they want. It's too big for them. And I have, again, now even other friends and family who don't even have iPhones, because phone-wise, they don't care. They have, believe it or not, some are still kicking around flip phones. I saw somebody the other day, they pulled a Nokia, the little candy bar situation, out of their purse. I was like, whoa, what, we flash back here? What is this, 2005?
She paranoid
But,
person, or she just
doesn't care.
Just wants a
Doesn't care.
phone.
It's actually a new one. You know how they came out with those new ones a couple years ago?
Right.
So she got one. I guess that was like her favorite form factor back in the day. She didn't say form factor. She just said, that's my favorite phone. She apparently is okay with the T9 texting, all that silly craziness. But the point is, there's a ton of people out there who phone-wise don't care. They want to be able to text. They want to be able to, what do you do? Snapchat, Facebook, all those other things. I don't do anything
Not me. Somebody
anymore. So it's like, I don't care. Yeah, people do it. But even the people that don't, a lot of them have learned, Apple. Again, I know you're watching. A lot of people have learned. You buy cheap tablets, you hate the experience, and then it makes you either A, never use it again, or get something better. That's why a lot of people are going towards the iPads. If that's the case, you got to have plenty of options. Maybe it's Apple's way of forcing these people who don't care about their phones, but I want an iPad Mini. Their way of meeting in the middle is an iPad, or I'm sorry, an iPhone Plus. I mean, is that their end game?
That's an awful pricey. I mean, that's 3 times the cost of the best iPad Mini to get. Well, I guess I'm jumping up to the $1,500 one, but still.
Yeah, if you go crazy, yeah. But it's only $750, I think it is,
for the R.
For the lowest 10R, which if people don't care about their phones, then that's already way above. They could go out if they don't care about their phones, and they can get a 7 Plus, which, what does that do? That's $299, $399, whatever the price point is for that guy. Now that they brought down the prices,
Which
I
phone?
mean, there's an entry point to get in. The 7 Plus.
7 starts at $450, so the 7 Plus is above that somewhere.
It's probably $499 then, if that's the case.
Somewhere there.
So, but I mean, there you go. So $499, if that's the price, you have your budget, your budget phone. And then with a lot of these companies, you usually stretch that out month to month.
Yeah.
So you're seeing $15, $20 a month. Oh, that's just my phone bill, whatever. But now they've got a phone bill / tablet. Is that what Apple's doing? So I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of this. This is just postulation, if you will.
I'll tell you the benefit, though.
I just...
Do you ever find a benefit to using one of their minis, iPad minis? I do on occasion.
I would say, like right now, this would be, in my opinion, the perfect use case. Would be either my monitor over to the side, which again is my iPad. It doesn't need to be the size that it is, because I don't use all of the features of the software. I basically just use it as a big monitor so I can see the camera and I can tap focus and record. So having a smaller one would be maybe a little nicer. Not enough to go buy one, though, that's for sure. Or flip it. I already have this 9.7 I'm using currently. I used to use my regular phone, but now I'm using an old hand-me-backed because I handed it to someone and they handed it back. iPhone 6 to FaceTime you. So this visual conduit situation. Maybe swap that out with an iPad Mini. Aside from this, that's popping into my head at least, I don't remember a time or a use case that I've already run into. I've got other things, yeah. I would love in my car to be able to carve out something and slide the Mini right in because it would fit. Heck yeah, sure. That'd be my new front end in the car. Yeah, let's do that. Mount it to the back of a headrest so the people in the back seat can watch. Sure. Again, there's other weirdness things that a Mini would really fit into, but for my day-to-day, no. 9.7 or bigger is where I'm living.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to stay.
There's a benefit though
That's my neighborhood.
to the various sizes though, because I can't. Sometimes we both do various forms of public speaking that include reading, and reading from my phone, even with glasses on, is not an enjoyable experience. Reading from my iPad 12.9-inch beast that looks like I'm holding up a small TV to read off of.
Yeah.
But that mini has a pretty good size because I can easily just hold it in my hand, even my small, tiny man hands.
Baby hands.
Yeah, I can hold it there, just grasping the entire back of the thing, and read it, no problem. And I can, I do adjust the size of the font. I'm not 20.
Old man eyes. Yeah, we're there again.
But size wise, and then in between, for instance, oftentimes when I'm studying for something, it's nice to have the two windows side by side. If I'm editing something for this, for instance, last week I used Ferrite and LumaFusion. I did full screen, and for a small portion of it, I did side by side, and that's very nice. Unfortunately, I don't. I was about to say I couldn't drag. I didn't try, so maybe I could drag the audio from one to the other. I'll try that this week. I didn't try it, but anyway, that would be handy because again, side by side. Whereas that 9.7, when at the where we do the public speaking, sometimes we're not speaking, so we're sitting down listening, and it's like having a small. Well, I've said it before, a small TV. So I guess I'll stick with that one. A small TV on my lap. I've got to balance back and forth. If I cross a leg, boop, that thing shifts one side way up. So I've got to hold it. It's a big dude. I've thought about even putting a tray in my briefcase so I can just set it on the tray and let it hang tight.
Yeah.
But the 9.7 then fits that size. That's a perfect size for that. Even the Mini. But even at that point, the Mini seems small. So I can't be pleased is what it's starting to sound like here. But the 9.7 is nice for that situation. So all sizes do have a nice little benefit.
But that's my point, right? All sizes. Is 7.5 or 7.9, is that the perfect mini size? I don't think so. I like the 4:3 form factor of the iPads, but I do think the smaller one, if it was letterbox, 16:9, 16:10, it'd be a little nicer. One of my favorite small tablets is the I forgot the name of it, the Nexus 7.
Oh, right.
Right? It had Android.
Had a good little run, yeah.
So that was the biggest drawback. But it, the size-wise, it was thinner. It was a little cumbersome lengthwise. If you're reading a really long web page, maybe it'll be great, or a lot of text. Horizontally, if you're watching it in landscape mode, a video obviously is great. YouTube looked really good on it. But it just size-wise, it kind of fit in more places, even a back pocket if you want to go crazy. But I think you gotta have something out there around that size, and a phone just won't cut it. I know people who give their kids tablets before they give them phones. So, my daughter. My daughter's an example. She has a phone, but it's more like an iPod. Doesn't have cellular, but she has the tablet. She's had it for years, and I was more comfortable giving her that because it's Wi-Fi only. Here's the purposes for what you're going to use it for. In order to use it as a phone, you have to unlock a little more. And I'm sorry, a lot of people out there have 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds with phones, and that's their business. But I don't feel my family needed that. So to have a tablet that's small, right? She wouldn't, if she held a 9.7 inch, it'd be just like, it'd be like holding a TV. So I don't understand Apple's reasonings, and I say that because I don't know them. If they actually gave a reason, everyone might go, okay, we're going to shut up now. That was good. That's a good reason. But typical per Apple, they don't. So therefore, you just sit there and go, okay, I guess they've lost their minds because that's the only feasible option. But I don't know. It's funny that I'm kind of like, ooh, I'm so passionate about it. The long run, I don't care. It doesn't affect me personally. But because, as you might be in your life, I'm tech support, whether I like it a lot, whether I like it or not, for a lot of people, or a lot. And so therefore I get asked a lot of questions after the keynote. I think I mentioned this before. I got asked questions. How come this didn't happen? How come this iPad wasn't brought out? How come I don't work for Apple? I don't know. I can just read what you can read on the internet. And maybe that's what they're assuming is that I read somewhere because they know they didn't. But having the options would be so much nicer than not having the options. iPhones are great in all their sizes. Although there are people who are complaining, right, about the iPhone. The SE no longer exists. It's not purchasable. And I've seen podcasts where they complain about this. I have people. I know plenty of people who complained, tiny people. Actually, I work with a guy. He's my size, not small, 6 plus, whatever, 250 plus, prefers the small one. He's still rocking, was it the C? Is that the color backed one?
Mm-hmm.
The iPhone C's. Bright yellow or canary yellow or something like that. Banana yellow. I don't remember the name of the color, but that to date is he's still using it. It's his phone, and that's what his huge banana hands. That's what he likes to use. It looks like he's typing on just like the small little screen, but there are people out there who like the small phones. There are people out there who like the small tablets. Apple, what are you doing? That's to sum it all up right there. Does that make sense?
Good summary, I think.
Okay.
What's wrong with Apple?
I think so. What is wrong with them?
They're making crazy decisions. Let's let them do over $1 billion or $1 trillion. I'm sorry, didn't mean to insult them with $1 billion, but $1 trillion. But
Yeah.
it's their crazy
So,
markups, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll find
I'll
out.
just leave it at that.
The current iPads are bound to be replaced this fall, whether it's an October or November event. Those are the rumors, anyway.
Right. Maybe even the end of this month. Yeah.
Right. So, and I don't know. I haven't really read enough of them to see if it's just the Pros that will be updated, or all of them. They just released wasn't it earlier this year? If my line is correct, they're
9.7 inch.
So, would they replace?
Yeah. So there's a 2018. That's the one that does that will accept the pencil input.
Right. So if that's the case, then would they replace that this fall? Probably not, in my opinion. They have done a short turnaround before, but that's for the 3. That's because the 3 just was really not a very good device.
That was a screen / graphics processor issue. Yeah. They might for the iPad Pros because those were last year.
Right.
If they did a mini, you know what they could do? Well, and that's actually what they did to begin with. They could just throw a phone processor into the mini.
Well, these 12.
Can it
A12.
Can it push the mini screen? That part I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's LCD, so if they don't use an OLED, right? I'm guessing because I don't understand the technology on that level. But or they can do what they've done in the past as well and use older iPad hardware. It's still newer. Again, the iPad Mini 4 is, and I'm rounding to 4 years because I don't remember exactly, but put last year's iPad Guts 2017 model. That's what I'm using now. And it's even with iOS 12, it's still zippy zappy. It runs around. It's very, very, very minimal lag. And I'm obviously running a larger screen, so to shrink it by 2 inches, then clearly that would work. And you've got the hardware laying around. Well, assuming they haven't squished it all and moved it to the 2018.
I tell you what I'd like.
So what I'm saying is there's options.
Oh,
What would you
when
like?
you're done. I was just going to say, if I had
Am I
the
ever done?
funds and the need, because I don't need another iPad right now. The one I have is last year's. It's great. I've got no problems with it. But I would like to see the Mini come around, a new Mini. I would also like it to be effectively a Pro. Now, that doesn't help price points. But, well, I guess it technically wouldn't need to be a Pro because in the regular one, they want to do this that I've never done before. If they added in pencil support, that's basically what I'm driving towards here, because that would effectively, for a lot of people, that could easily. Granted, the pencil is gargantuan. I mean, it's not thick or anything, but it's like holding a little branch in your hand every time you're trying to write with something. So, I've heard rumors of a new pencil coming out, that it being smaller and so forth. If that's the case, then having a Mini to write on would be awful nice. Getting rid of the 12.9, they just made the 10.5. A lot of people seem to love it because dimensions-wise is not too much bigger than that 9.7, especially if they do what the rumors are, which is go edge to edge, just like the iPhone XS design, NR.
Yeah.
If they do that, then you're getting even more screen. You could probably even get that 12.9 out of maybe the 10.5. I don't know. I'm guessing. But either way, you could definitely get smaller, or you can get a bigger screen on the size of the 12.9. But that's not ditch the 12.9. It keeps the 10.5 and keeps the Mini, and then you have a 7.9 and a 10.5, and then everything still has pencil support. But that 7.9 and using the pencil, that I could just see that being a benefit to a lot of people. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
I hear you.
myself.
And that's, okay.
We're at 27, by the way, on my
Excuse me.
recordometer here.
Yeah, last thing to say is just, along with what you just said, take now the 2018 guts. You've had half a year to shrink it, or use the exact same guts to shrink the battery,
Right.
and put it into 7.5 inch, 7.9 inch screen, 7.7, whatever the heck it is. Give it pencil support. Anyway, we're good to go. And maybe that's what they're going to do. We could be complaining all we want for nothing, and they come out in October. But that's the whole idea is, supposedly they're doing it to have a spectrum across everything and to fill everybody's void. But you start removing products, how can you do that?
Yeah.
Microsoft came out with some new products, updates. Everyone thought they were killing the Surface line. Maybe we can talk a little about that next week, as well as anything else that might come up between now and then, as the Germans say.
Sounds good.
At least one German says that. All right, everybody, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Thank you for staying to the end,
Again.
because we know you did, and
Just
we appreciate
hanging
it.
on with us. Thank you.
This whole thing was entertaining to us, to him. It was, I'm sure, to somebody. If you have any questions, obviously, leave them in the comments. If you liked it, click the like button. If you didn't like it, click the like button. And if you want to subscribe, we could always use another. There's 15 lonely subscribers. It'd be nice to have
and I hear something about a
16.
bell. Click a bell. You see a bell, click the bell.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
That
does.
has notifications, I
Is
believe.
that what it is? I just click the bell. I just hear it all.
It does. It sends you an email or a text, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
however your YouTube's is set
Everybody loves getting emails and texts. So
up. Everyone does. As many as possible. Let us spam you through YouTube.
once a week, approximately.
Well, at least once a week. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Ciao.
Take care.
And done.
Close.